Yashodanandanam Bhajanaranjanam Yashodanandanam Bhajanaranjanam Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Yashodanandana Vajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Vijakacharya Astottara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhai Charana Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON NBBT Founder Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Srila Prabhupada Ji Ki Maha Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Go Premanande All glorious assembly devotees All glorious assembly devotees All glorious assembly devotees All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nastaparesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Shringvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Ridantaistohya Bhadrani Vidhunod Suritsatam Krishna Swadhamopagate Dharma Gyanadibi Saha Kalona Sadrishamesha Puranakodanta Maha Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, Verse 53. Chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva, the title of chapter. Repeat after me. Etad Rupam Anudhyayam Atma Shuddhim Abhipsatam Yad Bhakti Yogo Bhayadaha Swadharmam Anutishtatam. Okay. Do you have the verse on the mobile? 4, 24, 53. Okay, Ravindra have, Christian have.
Which one?
53. 53.
53.
Yes. Etad rupam anudhyayam. Etad rupam anudhyayam. Atma shuddhi mabhipsatam. Atma shuddhi mabhipsatam. Yad bhakti yogo bhayada. Yad bhakti yogo bhayada. Swadharma manutishtatam. Swadharman anutishtatam. Etarupam anudhyayam. Atma shuddhi mabhipsatam. Yad bhakti yogo bhayada. Swadharma anutishtatam. Etarupam anudhyayam. Atma shuddhi mabhipsatam. Yad bhakti yogo bhayadha. Swadharma manutishtatam. Devotees. Etarupam anudhyayam. Atma shuddhi mabhipsatam. Yad bhakti yogo bhayadha. Swadharma manutishtatam. Tadrupam anudhyayam. Atma shuddhi mabhipsatam. Yad bhakti yogo bhayadha. Swadharmam anutishtatam. Take the book. Okay. Word by word. Etat. This. Rupam. Form. Anudhyayam. Must be meditated upon. Atma. Self. Shuddhi. Purification. Abhipsatam. Of those who are desiring so. Yat. That which. Bhakti yoga. Devotional serves. Abhaya daha. Facto fearlessness. Swadharmam. One's own occupation duties. Anutishtatam. Executing. Okay, a verse translated from Sanskrit to English. Stay there. My dear Lord, those who desire to purify their existence must always engage in meditation upon your lotus feet, as described above. Those who are serious about executing their occupational duties and who want freedom from fear must take to this process of bhakti yoga. Okay, let's go repeat together. My dear Lord, those who desire to purify their existence must always engage in meditation upon your lotus feet, as described above. Those who are serious about executing their occupational duties and who want freedom from fear must take to this process of bhakti yoga. Purport. It's said that the transcendental name, form, pastimes, and entourage of the Lord cannot be appreciated by the blunt material senses. Therefore, one has to engage himself in devotional service so that the senses may be purified and one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here, however, it is indicated that those who are constantly engaged in meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord are certainly purified of the material contamination of the senses and are thus able to see the Supreme Lord face to face. The word meditation is very popular in this age among us to the common people. But they do not know the actual meaning of meditation. However, from Vedic literature, we learn that the yogis are always absorbed in meditation upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Dhyana vastita tadgatena manasa pashantiyan yoginaha. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, Chapter 13, verse 1. This is the real business of the yogis, to think of the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord Shiva, therefore, advises that one who is actually serious about purification must engage himself in this type of meditation or in the mystic yoga system, which will help him not only to see the Lord within constantly, but to see him face to face and become his associate in Vaikuntha Loka or Goloka Vrindavanam. The word Swadharman, as in Swadharman Anushthitatan, indicates that the system of Varnashram, which indicates the occupational duties of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and which is the perfect institution for humanity, must be supported by Bhakti Yoga if one at all wants security in life. Generally, people think that simply by executing the occupational duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, or the duty of a Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi, one becomes fearless or securely attains liberation. But factually, unless all these occupational duties are accompanied by Bhakti Yoga, one cannot become fearless. In Bhagavad Gita, there are descriptions of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. But unless one comes to the point of Bhakti Yoga, these other yogas cannot help one attain the highest perfection of life. In other words, Bhakti Yoga is the only means for liberation. We find this conclusion also in Chaitanya Charitamrita in a discussion between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy regarding a human being's liberation from this material world. In that discussion, Ramananda Roy referred to the execution of Varnashram Dharma, and Lord Chaitanya indicates that the Varnashram Dharma was simply external, Eho Bhaya. Lord Chaitanya wanted to impress upon Ramananda Roy that simple by executing the duties of Varnashram Dharma, one is not guaranteed liberation. Finally, Ramananda Roy referred to the process of Bhakti Yoga, Sthani Stita Shrutgatan Tanuvan Manobhi. Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse 3. Regardless of one's condition of life, if he practices Bhakti Yoga, which begins with hearing Shrutgatam, the transcendental messages of the Lord through the mouth of the devotees, he gradually conquers the unconquerable God. God is now to be unconquerable, but one who submissively hears the words of a self-realized soul conquers the unconquerable. The conclusion is that if one is serious about liberation, he not only should execute the occupational duties of Varnashram Dharma, but should also engage in Bhakti Yoga by beginning hearing from a realized soul. This process will help the devotee conquer the unconquerable Supreme Personality of Godhead and become his associate after giving up the material body. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurmiritanjana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Staptam Yena Bhutale Swayanupa Kadamahyam Dadat Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Dvaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Tat Sat. Etad rupa manudhyayam atma shuddhim abhipsatam yad bhakti yogo bhayada swadharma manutishtatam. My dear Lord, those who desire to purify their existence must always engage in meditation upon your lotus feet, as described above. Those who are serious about executing their occupational duties and who want freedom from fear must take to this process of Bhakti Yoga. Hare Krishna. Good morning to everyone. Thanks for coming to the Srimad Bhagavatam lecture. Here we are studying the pastime of Lord Shiva and Prachetas, and specifically in this verse, the Lord Shiva glorify the process of Bhakti Yoga. That one bona fide way to get this, to achieve this Bhakti Yoga, this Bhakti is the process of meditation or Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, like is called in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And one modern book about Ashtanga Yoga is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. I will begin with translation alternative by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Open quote. Desire and purification of the jiva. One should repeatedly meditate on this form. Devotion to this form gives freedom from fear of death, even to those practicing Varnashram duties. Okay? Even in Varnashram, even when the person are inside of society, yes, and have a family and your duties, here specifically the Varnashram Dharma, the people need practice this process of Bhakti Yoga. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur give the purport as follows. Open quote. Shiva gives some special information in this verse. As long as one has not seen the Lord, the sadhaka bhakta desire and purification of the jiva. The removal of ignorance must repeatedly meditate anudheya on this form. The devotee should not purify his identity by any other means. Just as purification of the body was described through offering respects to Vasudeva and other deities. Here, there is purification of the jiva, the soul, by repeated meditation on the beauty of the Lord. After this, the devotee sees the Lord and becomes his associate. Thus, the goal of the Shuddha Bhakta, the pure devotional service, has been shown. How can bhakti be glorified? Even for persons performing their prescribed duties in different stages of life, Bhakti Yoga gives freedom from fear of death. That is the major, the more biggest fear, yes? The fear of death. Okay, we have following this chapter 24, the meeting between the advanced sons of King Pratinabarhi and the Prachetas and Lord Shiva. In the previous verse, Lord Shiva is glorifying Lord Krishna, and specifically from verse 44, Lord Shiva wants to see the form that is worshipped by the devotees. Open quote, verse 44, this chapter. I wish to see you exactly in the form that your very dear devotees worship. You have many other forms, but I wish to see your form that is especially liked by the devotees. Yes, a very nice context about this. We have the chapter 11 from Bhagavad Gita. I mentioned this in my previous lecture. In chapter 11, Krishna shows to Arjuna the universal form, or Viratirupa. All things that have in universe different demigods, different asuras, different planets, different things that we have in the material structure. Because the material nature, the Prakriti, is an expansion of Lord Krishna, is a external energy of Lord Krishna. And because this is not different of Lord Krishna, the sunshine not is different of the sun. And Arjuna feel a lot of fear when he see this universal form, this Viratirupa, because have many horrible teeth, yes, mouth very open, and all this. And the next, Lord Krishna showed to Arjuna the form of forearms, Lord Vishnu. And this is a very special form. It's a form of the God form, but like a demigod. Yes, the demigods have 4 arms. And Arjuna not stay satisfied. So Krishna shows the Govinda's form. That is your original form. Yes, Etachan Sakalapam Sa Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam. And this particular form, this very special and confidential form, the original form of God, Swayam Bhagavan, is a human form. Human form, yes, like the Bible said, but I don't know in English. God is your form and sua forma e semelhança. Similar, yes, the form and similar. And so, because the form more secret, more intimate of God is a human form, like Govinda, Lord Krishna. And so, after this, Arjuna stays satisfied. What this indicates very explicit in Bhagavad Gita, that the pure devotees, the more higher devotees, feel attracted for this form, the form of Govinda, form of Krishna. The pure devotees, the more advanced devotees, feel attracted by the form of Govinda. And here Lord Shiva explained this also, yes. I want to see the form that your very dear devotees worship. You have many other forms, but I wish to see your form that in especially liked by the devotees. So from verse 45, then Lord Shiva begins to describe in detail the different parts of the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord. Yeah, this happens many times in Srimad Bhagavatam. When the devotee describe in details the body of Lord Shiva, of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Begins in the Lord's feet and after go higher at the point of the Lord's face. What is the function of this description? The function is that we have the authorized description about the form of God to meditate. This is the proposed, yes. Shukadeva Goswami did this in second canto. Kapila Deva did this in third canto. Here Lord Shiva did again. For these great Mahajnas, for these great devotees, we have the elements to do a deep meditation in form of Krishna. This process is called like Ashtanga Yoga, or the meditative yoga, Dhyana Yoga. And this is a authorized process, but we need to remember that this is for very advanced devotees, and this is especially for the peoples of Satya Yuga, millions of years ago. For Kali Yuga, this is not recommended, but the original process of yoga is Ashtanga Yoga. When the past ages, the quality of human beings decrease, and the process need adapted. Yes, but these adaptations was given by the Shastras and given by the Supreme Lord himself. Yes, only the Supreme Lord can give the religion processes according to Yamaraj in 60th canto. And this process of the Harinama Sankirtan Yagya is emphasized for our Lord, the Lord himself, in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord, such authoritative description becomes central to the process of meditation or Ashtanga Yoga, where with the desire to completely control and purify the mind, the yogi concentrates totally on the form of the Lord. We can say that the process of Ashtanga Yoga is the most efficient process to control the mind. Yes, you abandon all material things, family, friends, society, go to a forest, especially a sacred forest or Himalayas, and practice this mechanical process. Yes, control the breath, control the positions, and you can also, after this, control the mind. Yes, this is the process of Dhyana Yoga. Such a dialogue takes place in past ages and very high personalities. The process of dhyana yoga or meditative yoga is being emphasized here, but for these inhabitants of Kali Yuga, this is perhaps not the most recommended process. Yogi yundita satatam atmanam raharsi stitaha ekaki yata chitatma nirashir aparigraha. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 10. This chapter is dedicated to Ashtanga Yoga. But generally we have the idea of yoga is synonymous. Synonymous is the word yoga is connected with the process of Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. But when Krishna explained about yoga in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada have an idea much more expensive about yoga. But Prabhupada and the Bhagavad Gita have a very extensive idea of what the yoga process is, as a long process divided into stages, much like a ladder. This is very clear in the first verses of 60th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is a quote of Prabhupada on the book Renunciation Through Wisdom. The fruitive workers cannot be counted among the yogis. They are materialists, yes? The actual yogis are the karma yogis, the jnana yogis, the ashtanga yogis, and the bhakti yogis. Factually, they are the same, although named differently. Yes, the one only process, the same process. The yoga process is like a ladder. One ascends gradually toward the final goal of the absolute truth. Nishkama karma, or renunciation. Nishkama karma means activities, karma, without desires. Nishkama. Or renunciation of the fruits of one's labor is the first step of this ladder. When knowledge and austerity are added to it, it becomes jnana yoga. The second step is namely Ashtanga Yoga. Finally, when love and devotion and service to the Supreme Lord is practiced along with Ashtanga Yoga, it is transformed into Bhakti Yoga. One important thing is when one follows this process of yoga ladder, this is called the indirectly process. Yes, it's like you go up in a building by the ladder. This is indirectly process. This is a recommend, and both Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita recommend this process, but this is difficult to this age also. And Bhagavad Gita and Krishna recommend the directly process. What is the directly process? Sarvadharma parityaja maekam sharanam vraja ahantuam sarva papebhyo mokshashami mashuchaha. Abandon all kinds of these steps of these ladders and surrender unto me. What means surrender unto me or surrender to Krishna? The direct process. Surrender to Krishna means surrender direct to bona fide spiritual master, bona fide pure devotee. If you surrender completely at the instructions of the spiritual master, this is like a lift, and you go up very, very fast, and on top of the building. This entire successive process is yoga. For an exact and clear delineation of the subject of yoga, all 4 steps needed to be explained separately. So, lembra de cards. Those who desire the best for humanity take to the path of yoga. The process for processing in yoga requires first the determination and the strict execution of discipline at each stage. When a person is firmly situated at one stage, he then has to relinquish attachment and adherence to the practice of that stage in order to elevate himself to the next higher stage. Those who cannot reach the top for some reason and get stuck at any one of the 4 stages acquire the designation of that particular stage. Thus, there are karma yogas, jnana yogas, ashtanga yogas, and bhakti yogas. Lord Krishna instructs Arjuna that one who renders love and devotional service to him, the Supreme Lord, is the highest among all of yogas. Yes, this is the last verse of the chapter 6. Yoginam abhisarvesham madhikana atmana. And that Arjuna showed us strive to become such a bhakti yoga. Yes. According our nature, according our adhikarana, our propensions, we have the propension to niskama karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga. But when we surrender to spiritual master, we get the much higher achieve yet the most higher goal, that is bhakti yoga. The process of bhakti yoga is completely independent. Okay, even a total neophyte can, if he is sincere and surrender to spiritual master, he will get all benefits. If one surrenders to the spiritual master, the pure devotee, he achieves all success. But all other processes depend on a pinch of bhakti, because bhakti is transcendence in itself. It is yoga original and the goal of the whole process of yoga. This is confirmed by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is a quote from of his Bhagavad Gita. I forget his name. This is Bhagavad Gita, but this is the purport of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to the verse 54, chapter 18. Bhakti is thus said to be a function of vidya, knowledge, in this verse. However, this actually means that some small portion of Ladini Shakti. Who is Ladini Shakti? Srimati Radharani. Yes, the personification of Bhakti, the personification of devotional service. A small portion of the Ladini Shakti of Bhakti enters into Vidya, knowledge, in order to give Vidya its results. Just as Bhakti also enters into Karma Yoga in order to give results of Karma. This can be said because there are many statements saying that Karma, Jnana Yoga and other processes are just useless labor without Bhakti. Since Nirguna Bhakti, pure Bhakti, is not a function of Vidya, filed with Sattva-guna. Though Vidya is the cause of extinguish avidya. The cause of knowledge of that is Bhakti alone. Those who presume to be Gyanis, desiring Sayuja, impersonal liberation by executing jnana alone without bhakti at all, obtain only suffering as their fruit. They are the most heavily condemned. Yes? Every another process need of bhakti, because this many jnanis chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but they chanting for achieve the liberation. This is not goal. This is not a function, final function of the Mahamantra Hare Krishna. Mahamantra Hare Krishna can be many can give many fruits, like liberation, like celestial planets, like material enjoyment on this world. But what is the real function? What is the real goal of the Mahamantra Hare Krishna? Krishna Prema Bhakti. Yes. But all another things need of a pinch of Bhakti for give results. And in Harinama Chintamani, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains about the obstacles of the Ashtanga Yoga process, especially for this age. This is a very interesting. In Satya Yuga, the Lord supplied the process of meditation by which the rishis became purified. Yes? In Satya Yuga, the major of peoples was Paramahansas. So because this, for these peoples, is too much easily the process of Ashtanga Yoga. But this process not is easy for peoples in Kali Yuga. Attaining purification, the Lord gave the treasure of bhakti. Similarly, in the Treta Yuga, the Lord arranged for purification by performance of sacrifices, yagas. And in Dwapara Yuga, the Lord gave temple worship for purification, aspects leading to bhakti. But seeing the pitiful state of the jivas in the Kali Yuga, the Lord gave up hope in the process of karma, jnana, and yoga. In Kali Yuga, such troubles as short life, many diseases, decreased intelligence, and strength afflict all jivas. Remember, in first canto, in the 10th verse of first canto, first chapter, Sutta Goswami elenked these difficulties for peoples of Kali Yuga, because knowing the difficulties of peoples in Kali Yuga, one most important point on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Purana is the whole name, yes. Therefore, the secondary paths of karma and jnana, the practice of varnashram, sankhya, yoga, and jnana, mixed with a little devotional activity, are too narrow and obstructive. The only result in Kali Yuga of these paths is deviation from the path of Bhakti Yoga. Yes? If you practice Sankhya, Yoga, Jnana, is most probably that you will deviation from the goal, from the main point. Thus, if one takes to these paths in hope of success in the Kali Yuga, life will simply become difficult for the jivas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur on introduction of the Harinama Chintamani. And what would be one of the practical results experienced in this world by the practice of yoga? The practical result is the cessation of fear and anxiety. Yes? The yoga process is a scientific process. because we have cause and effect. The cause is the process of yoga, yes. If you practice of the process of yoga, we have an effect. What is the effect that coming from yoga or bhakti yoga process? The effect, the scientific process, the result, the empirical result is that you you don't have more fear and anxiety. This is a quote from Prabhupada in the previous verse of this chapter, verse 52. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that in order to make spiritual progresses, one must become fearless. Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhihi. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verse 1. Fearfulness is the result of material involvement. It is also said in Srimad Bhagavatam 11, chapter 2, verse 37. Bhayam dvityabhinivishataha syat. Fearfulness is a creation of the bodily conception of life. This meaning everyone that have fear is because the people thinking, I'm this body, I'm women, I'm a man, I'm this, I'm that. Yes. The mind of these people are absorbing on the body, not absorbing on soul, on jiva. If the mind is purified and absorbing in jiva, the mind think, I am an eternal servant of Krishna. I am eternal. Yes, I don't have connection with this body. Nothing can hurt me, kill me, or this or that. As long as one is absorbed in thought that he is this material body, he is fearful. And as soon as one is freed from this material conception, he becomes Brahmabhuta, or self-realized, and immediately becomes fearless. Brahmabhuta Prasatma, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 54. Without being fearless, one cannot be joyful. Okay? Prabhupada said another point. Prabhupada said on this purport studying today, open quote, the word is swadharma. Swadharma means swa, we can translate it like self. Yes, very, very similar sound in word. Yes, swa, self. Dharma means the prescribed duties. Yes, the work that came from the nature of one, came from guna, the gunas, and because of this influence of gunas, we have a determined work on this world. The word swadharma, as in swadharma nutirshthatan, indicates that the system of varnashram, which indicates the occupational duties of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and which is the perfect institution for humanity, must be supported by Bhakti Yoga if one at all wants security in life. This is very interesting because Karma Yoga is a very extensive and a very important theme in Bhagavad Gita, especially in chapter 3, Karma Yoga, and chapter 5, Karma Yoga, like doing for Krishna. But the Karma Yoga itself not have connection with Krishna. How one can practice Karma Yoga? Yes, if I am very, very rich and I want to give up of the result of my job, of my work, yes? I want to renunciate the results of my work, yes? If I'm very, very rich, I can open a hospital for benefit of the others. If I'm very rich, I can open a university for benefit of the others, get knowledge. Yes, and this is the way to practice karma yoga. But it's very difficult for one not identification with your position. Yes, I am very charity. I'm a great person. And these people have results also, yes? The pious results. Only way that is possible practice karma yoga is when you give up the results for Krishna, when you renunciate the results for Krishna. Because this is the only way to karma yoga be possible. And this karma yoga becomes transcendental when you connect with Krishna. Because this Bhagavad Gita is so special book. Krishna explains about karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga on 6th chapter. And in Bhagavad Gita specifically, because Krishna explains in first person, Krishna explains, God explains himself. When he connected this yoga, it means bhakti yoga. Because all the process that we have in Bhagavad Gita not are independent. Opposed this, all process, karma, jnana, ashtanga are connected with bhakti yoga. Yes? And Bhagavad Gita is totally transcendental because all different processes are shown in your real form, yes, in your real nature that is going to Krishna. Krishna is the source of all. And because these all things need go or come back in direction to Krishna. Like the river go in direction to the ocean, all things in this world, knowledge, possessiveness, intelligence, all qualities need go come back in direction to Krishna. If not help the jiva to escape of this material world, not help the jiva to achieve the liberation. Generally, people think that simply by executing the occupational difficult word to me, occupational duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, or the duty of a Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi, one becomes fearless or securely attains liberation. But factually, unless all these occupational duties are accompanied by Bhakti Yoga, one cannot become fearless. In Bhagavad Gita, there are descriptions of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, etc. But unless one comes to the point of Bhakti Yoga, these other yogas cannot help one attain the highest perfection of life. In other words, Bhakti Yoga is the only means for liberation. Okay, this conclusion. Every activity, even in a society where apparently the jiva lives apart from God, has to be supported by bhakti. In the process of karma yoga, the person inserted in society renounces the fruits of his action, but if such an attitude is not connected with Krishna, it is impossible for such karma yoga to have intangible benefit. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. If you have comments. Mike.
Thank you very much, Maha Krishna Prabhu. you were mentioning karma yoga, and my question is how to renounce the fruits of karma yoga, or how to transform karma yoga into bhakti yoga.
Okay, very, very nice question. Karma yoga and bhakti yoga are the same process. The difference is in karma yoga, the devotee have fruitive desires. In bhakti yoga, the devotee not have more fruitive desires. Bhakti yoga means pure devotional service. Shuddha bhakti, Kevala bhakti. This is bhakti yoga. Karma yoga, the devotees have desires like every time I found out in this example, if the people like of pizza, the people in material world with a pizza with salam and all this, devotee not eat salam, but he make a pizza and he not only eat. This is Papa, yes. What devotee do? Devotee offer the pizza to Krishna. Yeah? This is karma yoga process. All things that you have desire, renunciation, this desire to pleasure of Krishna, do to Krishna. In Bhakti Yoga, we have the example of Gorakshor Das Babaji. He ate the mud of the Ganga, yes? Because this not more, he don't have more this tongue necessity, yes? Devotee in Bhakti Yoga only take prasada, but not are disturbed by the sense enjoyment, yes? In Karma Yoga, you have a quality of be a good painter, yes? In Karma Yoga, you painter portraits of Krishna, or you have the ability of a writer. You're not a writer. You not write more about this news of material world. You write about Krishna. Yes. In Karma Yoga, you only do your desires. You give your desires to Krishna. Yes. In Bhakti Yoga, you don't have more desires. Have only desire to serve Krishna. For Bhakti Yogi, golden stone in this level is the same thing, yes? But it's the same process. In Karma Yoga, we have desire because we dedicate these desires to Krishna and we will purify at this stage of Bhakti Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga, we don't have more desires, yeah? Karma samubha, moksha kam. How is this verse? Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udaradehi. Yes? The most elevate people is the pure devotee. That is akama. Yes? They don't have more desire. But if you have a lot of desire, sakama, practice the process of Karma Yoga, yes, dedicate your desires to Krishna. But the most found out, most miserable person is that have a desire of liberation, only liberation, yes, the impersonal liberation, Sayuja Mukti. Yes, it's the third class of people, the impersonalist. But if you have desire, no problem. Your Karma Yoga, your stage, your process. And dedicate your desire to Krishna. The desires will purify. You will understand that you are a spiritual soul, and you will only desire to Krishna in the future. Yes, with the result of this process. Okay.
You explained how a person who desires has a lot of wealth and